Hello everybody, welcome to my channel and welcome to another episode of Women of Ancient History, a series on my channel where I create short historical profiles summarizing the lives of women who live within ancient history who I believe deserve to be remembered more than they are. This series in its total is going to be 10 episodes, making this episode the semi-finale. However, if people want, I would consider a season 2, so to speak. Not only is this episode the semi-final, but it's also going to be a bit of a prequel to the final episode. The last woman we're going to be looking at, I feel you can get a bit of a better understanding of her by looking at a lot of the context surrounding her and the situation in which she grew up. And what better way to get an understanding of her upbringing than studying her mother? A woman who was the mother of the future emperor, temporarily became a Roman commander, and was defiant against another Roman emperor. Today we are talking about Agrippina the Elder. Agrippina the Elder was born in 14 BC into a very powerful family line, the Julio-Claudian line. Her mother Julia was the daughter of the Emperor Augustus, the first emperor of Rome, and her father was a powerful Roman consul. This made her an imperial woman. Imperial women in Rome were expected to be modest, have dignity and awareness of their responsibilities, marry young, and have large families. They could play no official part in politics, but they had significant influence over their husbands. They had an important role in dynastic succession, and a large part of their role was to promote their sons, even ruthlessly so. Getting their husbands and their sons in power was pretty much their responsibility, and yet they were given no power to do so, really. Agrippina's lineage grew even stronger through her marriage to Germanicus. Germanicus was the son of Drusus, who was the brother of the future emperor Tiberius, and his mother was Livia. Germanicus was later adopted by Tiberius. Tiberius may have adopted him under Augustus's influence, but he didn't particularly trust Germanicus. Tacitus, a Roman writer, describes to us that many believe Drusus gained so much popularity because he wanted to bring back the Republic. So no more emperors. So Tiberius wasn't a fan, nor was he a particular fan of his son. Germanicus was a consul and in the following year was appointed governor of Upper and Lower Germany. He handled the situation in Germany badly, but he was still insanely popular in Rome. Suetonius describes, Germanicus is everywhere described as having been an outstanding physical and moral excellence. He was handsome, courageous, and had a capacity for winning respect and aspiring affection. Agrippina's family isn't all fame and glory. Her siblings Lucius and Gaius died, and another of her siblings was imprisoned and sentenced to be killed after the death of Augustus. Her mother Julia was exiled for immorality, just as her mother before her. Agrippina herself gave birth to 9 children, only 6 of which survived beyond childhood. There was a lot of darkness in her life. There was mutiny in Rome after the death of Augustus. People loved Augustus, right? And then they kind of barely tolerated Tiberius. Tiberius becomes emperor, the same man who had a bit of a grudge and distrust towards Germanicus. Because of this, Germanicus feared for the safety of the at the time pregnant Agrippina and their already born son Gaius, who you may know better as Caligula. He moved them to safety in the Gallic tribe, the Treveri. Then the mutinies of Rome felt bad that they'd forced Germanicus and Agrippina to leave, and begged them to return to Rome. Germanicus returned, but left Agrippina in safety with using the excuse of her pregnancy. A year later, Germanicus is back to leading the Germanic war campaign. It was during this time that Agrippina had the chance to show her true strength. Germanicus was pursuing a Germanic chief, Arminius, who was responsible for the Varian disaster, a disaster in which Rome suffered one of its most damaging defeats. While Germanicus chases after Arminius, Agrippina and some of the remaining Roman troops are in Gaul. It is here that she assumes the role of commander. She dresses soldiers' wounds and she assists in the recovery of lost equipment. Then word begins to spread within the camp that Germanicus has been defeated, and that barbaric troops from Germany were now planning to cross the river Rhine into Gaul. The troops panic. Their solution was to destroy the Vetera Bridge, which connected to Rhine. But if they did so, it would have left Germanicus and the remaining Roman troops stranded and left to the mercy of Arminius. So Agrippina takes a stand on the bridge and prevents its destruction. In doing so, she saves Germanicus and the troops. It's rare for a Roman woman to get the chance to take an actual physical stand and to be listened to. And what's even more surprising is Tacitus's glowing praise. In those days, this great-hearted woman acted as a commander. She herself dispensed clothes to needy soldiers and dressed the wounded. Pliny the Elder writes that she stood at the bridgehead to thank and congratulate the returning column. Tiberius sends Germanicus on a diplomatic trip to Syria in 17 AD. On his journey home, he falls ill and dies. Very suspiciously. Germanicus was convinced he had been poisoned. He also claimed that Calpurnius Piso, the new legislate in Syria, and his wife Plancina were plotting to murder him. In his dying moments, he also gave a warning to Agrippina. Forget her pride, submit to cruel fortune, and back in Rome, to avoid provoking those stronger than herself by competing for their power. This warning was given publicly to his followers, however he supposedly also privately gave a warning against the dangers of Tiberius. There's some serious foreshadowing there. I find it almost cute the way Germanicus is like on his deathbed and he's like, please, tell my wife to chill out because she's gonna get herself into trouble for this. Rome is devastated by Germanicus's death. However, Tiberius doesn't attend the ceremony celebrating his life, and doesn't seem to care. Suspicious. But Rome won't calm down about it. They're still insisting that Plancina and Piso be brought to justice. Tiberius begrudgingly gives into the pressure and does. Rome accepts this and their grief dissipates. But I don't think it ever truly does for Agrippina. There's still a chance Tiberius had a hand in Germanicus's death. And Agrippina isn't going to just forget that. It's from here that things really go downhill for Agrippina. Not only was Tiberius suspicious of her and she suspicious of Tiberius, but Tiberius was now being influenced by a prefect of the Praetorian Guard called Sejanus. Sejanus was ruthless, imperial woman level of ruthless. He was power hungry, and the one standing at the way of him gaining power were Tiberius' son Drusus and Agrippina and her children. So he uses his position to punish what he refers to as partes Agrippinae, the party of Agrippina. Agrippina likely didn't have an organized political group, but Sejanus made sure to target everyone around her and important to her. Tiberius' son Drusus dies under very suspicious circumstances, which, yes, that does happen a lot in Rome. You could even say his death was Drusus. Sorry. The Claudian succession, that is, the next heir after Tiberius, is currently Drusus' son Gemellus. Drusus' death also cleared the way for Agrippina's children, Nero and Drusus, to be in line for succession. And yes, they do like to recycle names. And so Sejanus' targeted attacks begin. Agrippina's friend Silius was put on trial for sabotaging the Roman war effort in Germany AD 21, which was 3 years ago at this point. He committed suicide before the verdict and his wife was exiled. Claudia Pulchra, Agrippina's second cousin, was put on trial of accusations of magic and trying to poison Tiberius. And later her son was also trialed. Agrippina was furious at the unfair trial of her friend and relation. She supposedly went to Tiberius in a rage while he was making sacrifices to the deified Augustus, which enraged him. He grabbed her and hissed, "My girl, do you think you are badly done by if you do not rule?" Later on, Agrippina wanted to remarry to a man named Asinius Gallus, who Tiberius really didn't like. In AD 30, Gallus was denounced by Tiberius, likely for improper relations with Agrippina. He didn't get a trial and was held prisoner in solitary confinement, where he then starved himself for 33 days. There were then many attacks on Agrippina's friends following. Then the vicious Sejanus turned to Agrippina and Nero. Agrippina was accused of insubordination. Nero was accused of homosexuality. What a crime! Tiberius denounces Agrippina and Nero. There's a lot of contradictory sources and evidence regarding what exactly they did to be denounced, what exactly their punishment was, etc. Likely because Sejanus and Tiberius were just looking for an excuse to get rid of them at this point. Nero is tried, declared public enemy, and exiled. There in exile, he commits suicide. Agrippina was sent to Pandateria, and she did not take to being imprisoned. She was a difficult prisoner, and after an altercation with a guard, she was beaten so badly she lost an eye. Another of her children, Drusus, is imprisoned and starves himself to death. And in October 33, Agrippina follows him and also starves herself to death. That was a lot of depressing information, so let's take a deep breath. Why should we honor a woman whose life was just riddled with so much suffering? Because it goes to show the reality for Roman women. If you were a pleb, you were struggling to survive because of your poverty. If you were a rich upper-class imperial woman, you were struggling to survive because everyone was out to get you. This was life for Roman women. Yet Agrippina was super strong. She was defiant till death, held her ground, was able to step up to any task necessary. One of her remaining children, Gaius, went on to become the Emperor Caligula. But what about her daughters? What of Agrippina the Younger, who witnessed all of this? Who was 11 at the time of her mother's trial, not yet 15 when her brother Nero died, and was only just 18 when Drusus and her mother died? What about a young woman who in the future will become the sister of an emperor, the wife of an emperor, and the mother of an emperor? Next episode, we dive into the crazy, political, twisted, often soap opera-like story of Agrippina the Younger, daughter of Agrippina the Elder. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you did enjoy. I'm currently also making another history series on this channel all about the history of asexuality. So make sure you check it out if you want to educate yourself on a bit of queer history. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a like and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the crazy next episode all about Agrippina the Younger. So thank you once again for watching. Bye!